I went ahead and added one more test method that will check that when we start with a new tracking service, if we try to remove protein, then it will still be 0 because we can't go below 0. It doesn't make sense to have less than 0. Now, you can see here that there's some duplication. If we look at these methods, you can now see that the service is being created in each one of these. Well, we could try to refactor this. What we could do is we could refactor, and we could convert our local variable to a field. We'll initialize it in the field declaration. So now we have this service. We don't have to declare this tracking service in these tests. We're reducing our code, which is a good thing, but we have a big problem. If we run these tests, they may pass, but they may not. And it just so happened that they did pass in this case, but we're in a dangerous situation because we're counting on the order of these tests running. If we run these one more time, you can look at this order, which, remember, I said we can't really count on, and it's not a good idea to count on, but you can see that this new tracking service total is 0 is being run first, and then the removing is actually being run before the adding. Now, had these been reversed and the adding was run first, we would have had our total set to 10. When we removed 5, it would have been set to 5, and this test would fail. So this test could fail at some time in the future. This is where using a before method can really help us out. Let's go ahead and change this a little bit, and let's do an @before. Here we're just going to do a public void, and we're going to call this setup. And by the way, now's a good time to mention that you'll probably notice that my Java methods are starting with capital letters. I only do this on test methods because I find it reads a little bit easier. This setup method isn't actually a test, so it's not going to show up in the JUnit runner, so I'm going to use the standard Java naming convention. Of course, you don't have to follow this. This is just something that I do that I find makes my tests read a little bit better. It's a little bit weird when I see them starting with the lowercase in that JUnit test runner, but you could do whatever you like. Now let's import this before, and inside here, we're going to go ahead and initialize our service. So we're going to say service equals new tracking service. We'll eliminate this initialization from here so that we have to rely on this setup being called. And setup is going to get called every single time that a test is about to run. So if we were to look at what's going to happen, setup will get called before this method, before this one, before this one, before every single test run. In fact, just to verify that that's happening, what we can do is we can do a system.out.println, and here we'll just say before. Now if we go ahead and run these tests, all of our tests are passing. And when we look at this output, let's go ahead and view this output. You can see before, before. It got called 3 times, and that's because we had 3 tests that executed.